9440, 4404, 944405, 1905, 19.
Welcome back, crime fighters, for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help us lock up the bad guys and make Calhoun County a better and safer place for all of us. I'm Chris Wright, along with our Chief Deputy, John Garlick. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you, Chris.
We had a good week.
Had a great week. Let's see what we got. Let's look at what everybody brought into us this week. Our count is another 3, so we're up to 4,379 people brought to justice since inception. Our folks never disappoint. They're always giving us good information.
Very good. So we appreciate that. We'll have this week's lineup coming up here in just a few minutes. Later on, we'll have our Crime Stoppers segment of the show. We talk about some property crimes that we need some help, and we've got several of those this week.
A lot of them this week, really a lot. It's good. Well, good. It's a long list. We need lots of help.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity for people to help.
Lots of opportunity, yes.
What else is going on this week?
Well, so April, as it turns out, is Children's Sports Safety Awareness Month. So we thought we'd talk about that for a little bit. You know, your kids play all these wonderful sports, whatever's going on in the spring. You know, where I grew up, we had lacrosse in the spring, but I don't think they do that.
Reese is playing soccer and tennis right now. Today he's doing the tennis, but he's doing both simultaneously.
Oh, wow.
Which means he ends up not getting a whole lot of playing time on the soccer team because he misses a lot of the practices and stuff. But
well, so a lot of the injuries you have to be careful of, other than broken bones and shins getting kicked, the really serious, well, those are serious, but some of the more concerning ones are busted teeth, eyes, and concussions.
And we're learning more and more about the concussions. This is something that 10 years ago you didn't hear nearly as much about. Now we're understanding more and more about how easily you can get that concussion without even really knowing about it, and how having that one concussion can lead to more problems down the road if you have additional ones.
Yeah, so it leads to what we call traumatic brain injury. And, you know, concussions, when I was a kid, we thought concussions were, you know, they were pretty obvious. You got knocked out, wow, you might have a concussion. But it's not necessarily as severe as that. You just get your bell rung a little bit, and that is a small concussion, and it's recurring small concussions in the same part of your brain. So if you're taking a blow to this part of your head, and that just happens to be where you take that blow in every game, over the course of time, that can damage that part of your brain. And that becomes a traumatic brain injury. You can have personality changes. You can have difficulty in speaking, hearing, reading. All of your skills can be affected. The ability to control your moods and impulses.
If done right and with some luck, youth sports can really give some positive impact on the later years of your life. Yeah. But if we're not careful, if we don't watch out for things like this, then it can have a very negative impact on your adult years. So just know what you're dealing with, and be good parents, know the dangers, and help your kids protect themselves. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Dequarius Garrett. Mr. Garrett, last known to be living in Talladega, he's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance and possession of marijuana second. And we'd like you to meet Samantha Hill Fleming. Ms. Fleming, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for a probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Marty Kirby. Mr. Kirby, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for domestic violence third harassment. And take a look at Riley DeMille. Miss DeMille, last known to be living in Heflin, she's wanted on a probation revocation for possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And here is Willie Trammell. Mr. Trammell, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted on a probation violation for felony domestic violence third. And last up for the first half of our lineup, Melody Cheney. Miss Cheney, last known to be living in Jacksonville, she's wanted for bond revocation on possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
We'll have the second half of the lineup here in just a few minutes, but John, it's ready to time to be running, right?
Yeah, for you and Katina Houston Stroud from Family Links. You guys like to run. I don't.
I don't know that I do, but
I do like it. I haven't been running as much this season as I normally would have, but I
So
do
you've only
enjoy
done
it.
like 1,500 miles since January.
Oh, no. I've run in about 2 races and I don't know, maybe 5 runs since January.
26 miles of them each, right?
No.
Each marathon.
we actually have a really good running community here in
really do.
Calhoun County, and several good opportunities to get out and run with the community. But
Absolutely.
maybe the best is coming up this weekend.
Absolutely. The most fun 5K in Calhoun County and surrounding areas. That's what I think.
All right, so tell us about it.
So it is our 6th annual Run for Funds 5K. We've been doing it now 6 years, and it continues to grow every year. It is April the 20th, this Easter weekend. Some people are like, why? It's the weekend that we're planning to do things, but it's the perfect time to do it. Get the kids out of the house to do something fun, because our 5K is a race. It is a 5K, a 3-mile run with a 1K as well for the kids, but it's more like a festival because we have a jumpy house and a petting zoo and food and vendors and music, and so it's a great family
There you go,
outing.
Tom.
They're going to have a cassowary at the petting zoo.
That would not be good. See, Katina can go and run, and we can go get some food.
We can. I'll be there like at 6 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
to sign people up,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So
John is a faithful board member. He actually is the president of our board, but more than that, he's really active with the agency, and so he shows up every year at 6 o'clock for our last minute registration people so that he can get them registered for
and
the
that, I
run.
just want you to know that's usually before I get my cup of coffee, so I forget to get a cup of coffee on the way out there, so it's really bad.
So somebody bring John a cup of coffee on Saturday morning,
Yep,
and
straight
he'll
up.
be a hero.
Don't need anything in it, just coffee.
And when we were on the other side of the medical mall that used to be the PX, we had access to a coffee pot. So this year I'll make sure that we have coffee for you.
Will you?
Yes, I will.
Oh my God.
You're the best. Okay, so since it's Easter week, maybe are you going to have like Easter eggs along the 5K route that we can look for?
You know
or-
what? That's a good idea. So maybe we should do that. Now there is an awesome field right across the street from the parking lot that we park in for the race, and I thought about having our student interns, hide a couple of Easter eggs for the kids. I think that'd be a great idea. So
That would be
now
fun.
we're on the same.
Is the Easter Bunny going to be
Yes.
there too?
The Easter Bunny is not going to be there. We could not
busy.
secure one because yes, he'll be busy all over.
It's a
Calhoun
busy
County.
time.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a really good course. This is a good course for the 5Ks.
It is. It's our own Family Links course. We used to, in the beginning years of the Run for Funds, we used to follow the old Lions Club course. Everybody was familiar with that, but we wanted one that would be our own. So Dennis Dunn helped me to map out a course, and it follows back along Pappy Dunn. It goes out, towards the main highway and passes in front of Allegasco, which is now Spire. But it's a super scenic, beautiful, hilly course. People complain about the hills every once in a while, but it is the most beautiful course and the most beautiful 5K out there. Yeah.
All right, so if people want to get signed up,
Yes.
what do they need to do?
So we are still taking paper registration forms by mail if they can get to us by Friday. Paper registration forms. Some people are stopping by the office. We had several people stop by the office yesterday to register. So they can come to the office, which is 20 West 14th Street, right across from the YMCA. They can also go online to runsignup.com and register. If you go to runsignup.com, you just put in Family Links Run for Funds, our page will come up and you can register online all the way up until midnight on Thursday. We also take last day registration or race day registration, but there is an additional $5 if you register on race day.
And we've got a new partnership this year with the folks out there at McClellan at AM K9. For $7.99 a pound, you can get a T-bone steak to tie around your neck, and they'll take one of their dogs.
They will. Yeah.
And see how fast you can really get through the
so
5K
you'll get
course.
your best
Yes.
time ever.
Expecting
Right.
record-breaking times for a 5K. Guinness will be here to set the record straight.
And we'll
yeah.
make sure we have plenty of paramedics on site for this. Yeah. Oh, the fire department will be there as well too. It's just going to be great. It's going to be like a little mini festival, and that is our goal each year, to add more vendors, more activities, more fun, more games for the kids, so that the family will have an awesome time at the 5K.
Everybody always has a good time, but it seems to be getting better every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us where they come to sign up and start.
So they can register at the Medical Mall on McClellan, 171.
Yeah. It's right down the
It
road.
escapes
when you
me. I'm sorry.
Come in the gate and go
Yeah.
straight down the road. Yeah, yeah.
And John will be waiting to take registration forms.
And if people want to look online to get the details for that.
Follow us on Facebook, our Family Links Facebook page, or they can just put in Run for Funds on Facebook and it'll come up, and every vendor and every sponsor that sponsored this year. We've got wonderful sponsors this year, the best ever, 33 sponsors this year. So they can find out information on Facebook, they can go to Run Sign Up, or they can call Family Links at 624-6156.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to find out more about what those funds are used for, the great things happening in our community thanks to Family Links and all of you who support them, when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Shabrina Jason. Miss Jason, last known to be living in Huntsville. She's wanted on failure to appear for receiving stolen property ×4. And here is Christopher Rogers. Mr. Rogers, last known to be living in Jacksonville. He's wanted on failure to appear for negotiating a worthless negotiable instrument. That's writing bad checks, folks. And meet Eric Stevens. Mr. Stevens, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted on a bond revocation for possession of a controlled substance, obstruction of governmental operations, and possession of marijuana. Second. And please take a look at Matthew Watkins. Mr. Watkins, last known to be living in Bessemer, he's wanted for a probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And last up in our lineup this week, Joseph Holloway. Mr. Holloway, last known to be living in Talladega, he's wanted for probation revocation on obstruction of justice by using a false identity. And that's our lineup this week, folks. If you know where these guys are, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number, 256-238-1414.
All right, we will have the Crime Stopper segment of the show in just a few minutes. Talk about some unsolved property crimes we need your help with. We'll have our crazy criminal of the week as well. But right now we're talking with a lovely guest that you may have seen recently here on TV 24 for a different reason, as she was being recognized as an everyday hero.
Yes.
Katina Houston Stroud with Family Links.
Yeah. I'm still smiling about that. It's a little bit embarrassing. It really is. And I'm working on that. People are like, really? You should just say thank you. But it's a little embarrassing. I didn't even tell anybody about it except for my family and my best friend because they came on the day of the award ceremony. But I was nominated by someone and I was picked as an everyday hero for the
Everyday
community.
hero. Not just once in a while hero.
But an everyday hero.
Well, let's talk about what you do every day at Family Links. So we're doing this Run for Funds on Saturday. We're raising some money to help keep these things going. What is it that Family Links is doing to make our community better every day?
So anything we do is to help children and families to be successful in our community. We have several different programs to meet that mission. And so what I get to do every day, which is another one of the reasons why it's almost embarrassing to take credit as an everyday hero, I have an amazing staff that does the work. I mean, I come every day and I get to lead them, but they are doing an amazing job. So the funds, when people decide to run in the race, the funds go towards our programs. We have a program called the Success Academy where kids who get into legal trouble or can't go back to their regular school, they're able to come to our agency and get academic and therapeutic remediation. We have parenting programs which are separated into our early childhood development parenting programs where someone goes in-home to teach young parents or grandparents or any parent developmental milestones and things like that to help them to better parent their children. We also have a program called Empowering Parents where parents who have children that are maybe acting out, showing a little bit of disobedience, or out of control behaviors, we have a parenting program for them as well. We have a program called the Link ID program, and it's a reward and incentive program to help our young children to stay drug and alcohol free, and we reward them for being drug and alcohol free and bully free. With that program, when parents participate, if we drug screen a child in the school and they pass their drug screen, we reward the entire family. It increases parental involvement. We reward the entire family with dinner for the night, and we have different restaurants in the area that have partnered with us to provide dinner for that family for the entire night. So all kinds of programs to help our families to be successful.
So many ways to help avoid these kids falling through the cracks,
Yes.
as they say. There are a lot of cracks out there and a lot of kids
Yes.
that are right on the edge of those cracks. And John, there's such a difference between helping a kid to avoid falling through those cracks and trying to rescue that kid once they've fallen through.
Oh yeah, it's much better to avoid it than to try to pull them out of it. And you know, raising kids today, it's a different world
Yes.
than when we were kids. We've got greater cracks, if you will, to fall in. The biggest one being the internet and social media
Yes.
and all the media stuff, games that are all out there. And parenting has become not just a challenge, but a critical life skill, critical for the children.
And an important part of that is that parenting today is not the same as it was when our parents were modeling. You may have had great parents that modeled the way to raise a child perfectly when you were growing up. And a lot of what they did is still true today, but it's not enough
No.
for today because the world has changed.
Yes, parenting is, and always has been, an action word. You know, you don't just have kids, you've got to parent them, but more so now than ever, you've got to be vigilant about what they're watching on TV, and the same as John said, the games that they play. Social media plays such a big part in their young lives, and so we have to be careful about what they're exposed to. Parenting is definitely an action word, and we hope that we can impart, you know, excellent skills into these parents so that we can help them to navigate this thing as their children are growing up.
And if people want to find out more about how Family Links can help them and their family,
Yes, they can contact us at our office at 256-624-6156. They can drop in at the office. We're in an excellent location now, like I said, right across the street from the YMCA, 20 West 14th Street. They can contact me. I get a lot of messages on Facebook, on our Facebook page, in the inbox. But call us, stop by the office, Facebook, and we'll be happy to find some service that will help the family.
all right. Thank you, Katina.
All right.
Keep on being an everyday hero.
Yes.
All right. And we'll see you on Saturday for the race. We will be right back in just a moment with the Crime Stoppers segment of the show and our Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to help our investigators on the following cases. First up, on April 1st, a shed at a home on Highway 431 in Alexandria was burglarized. 2 steel weed eaters, an 18-inch steel chainsaw, and a Craftsman gas-powered pressure washer was taken from that location. On April 1st, a PS4 with a controller and game disc were stolen from a residence on Martin Luther King Drive in Hobson City. And sometime between March 31st and April 2nd, a Ruger 380 handgun was stolen from a truck parked at a residence on Highway 78 East in Anniston. And between April 2nd and April 5th, the truck was broken into while parked on the side of the Interstate 20 near mile marker 183 eastbound. Car battery and 15 fuses were taken from that vehicle. On April 5th, the car was broken into on Berry Street in Oxford. Car radio and 2 door speakers were stolen from that vehicle. Sometime between April 1st and April 5th, the Harley-Davidson motorcycle was stolen from a shed at a residence on Highway 9 in White Plains. And on April 8th, the burglary was reported at a residence on Peaks Hill Road in Ohatchee. A pressure washer, car battery, and a large amount of Mary Kay products were stolen from that location. And last up on your caseload this week, on April 10th, breaking and entering of a Chevy Silverado occurred at a residence on Angel Drive in Jacksonville. A large amount of money was stolen, along with an engagement ring, a large quantity of silver dollars, a gold chain, and various medication. And that's it for your Crime Stoppers this week. If you know anything about these cases, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number is 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, our crazy criminal of the week, John, this week is accused of trying to steal from Kmart.
Oh, okay.
He apparently purchased some items and then tried to return the items, but in the boxes, the items weren't actually in there. It was some other junk, and he's trying to get his refund for that. Now, this isn't all that crazy. This is something that people do, but in this case, you ever watch the MTV show Real World?
No.
The guy owned one of the mansions that was featured on MTV's The Real World, and he just bought an $8 million island off the Florida Keys. Buys a private island for $8 million, then he's busted for shoplifting at Kmart.
Huh. Well, obviously that island pretty much drained him.
I guess it did.
Proving
$8 million
it
was
again.
all he had. He did not have $8,037. He only had $8 million. All right, well, that's all the time that we've got for this week. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup or trying to return empty boxes to Kmart on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.